Bruchim Aboyim to what has now become the annual Shas-4-Shidduchim. We're going to begin the program immediately with the Messiah of Yosef Weinkrantz, followed by the Kaddish by Rabbi Yankov Zisel Glenner.
Turn the veil yo. Kol shayn halochs b'chol yom mufter loy shu b'naylam habo. Shnema halichas seidem loy atike halichas ella halochas. Hatten noch tnaiges slikelam mesachtes nedam. Hatten noch tnaiges slikelam mesachtes nedam. Hatten noch tnaiges slikelam mesachtes nedam. Hatten noch mesachtes nedam vitam mit babli v'haten Allah. Daten noch mesachtes nedam vitam mit babli v'haten Allah. Los is nashim nach masat des nidvet am babli, los is nashim na le bam hodain le bam dose. Hatten nach masat des nidvet sam babli, we hatten Allah masat des nidvet of sam babli we daten Allah. Los is nashim nach masat des nidvet sam babli, los is nashim na le bam hodain le bam dose. Hatten nach masat des nidvet sam babli, hatten Allah. We daten nach masat des nidvet sam babli we daten Allah. Los is nashim na masat des nidvet sam babli. Los is nashim na le bam hodim le bam dose. Yehotzem vanach han yol hein wil have seino. Shtayt rosem an sene volem hazer semen leilem habo. Khanine ba pope rome ba pope nachme ba pope khoy ba pope aber mur ba pope rafen ba pope rochish ba pope sope ba pope ad ba pope dor ba pope. Harav no ad nol hein is divis ras befino. We vier sampe beise soal de nie kolon wa nachnu bis het seino bis het am beise soal kolon judische maga. Belangt het sagel de sma. Maar ik weet dat ik met zeggen geloilem heli, libi tumen bekak allemaal leewas. Loilem leyaska bekodach kibam khiysoni. Borgato adoinai lamdeno gekak omeen zelf wordt. Maar de nachtnelle vandaag uit nul heen wil hebben zijn op. Ze samt gaan kennen me juist bij samadres. Wil is samt gaan kennen me juist bij kronax. Schon maar schimmen we heen schimmen. On maar schimmen de verteilen we heen schimmen doen we teilen. On maar mailen we heen mailen. On maar mailen we elkaar beschaar. We heen mailen we heen elkaar beschaar. On rotsen we heen rotsen. On rotsen we elkaar huilen habo we heen rotsen bij shachas. Shnema vatelim taridem bij shachas. Want je domme mermele jachtse je meem. Wanneer afterbach. Yehotzem vanach al noy lahai geshem ze zartanul the same sat sidde samet badly kein tas rein will hasel me sat es vor machaim le saimam lu mot lamet lish ma velasish lakaim as khodibe sa sarabi havo was khos kolat noy va megoym mis mit khachomem yamat li ol zari shloitom shatara me pizari vizari at oilam des kein liebe slecher hat an geisach besharb hat ishmer lacha because I say it is a chacham. Kibir be yomach be civil choshnois chaim. Ayachim be mina be smile oisher v'kovayt. Adina oislam ayitain adoni yevorech as samay bashulan.
Get it closer to the mic. Get it closer to the mic. Hard to hear you. Close to the mic. Thank you.
Yiskedam Shmei Abba Yoma Hodi Yosidis Chadada Sala Chayoya Lachayo Messiah Ula Saka Yosan Chayoma Olmine Karta Yushalem Lachachlo Heklo Begava Makabo Chanu Nuchwa Minara Wasa Abochan Dishmai last way Yami Kujo Brechun Mabusevi Kurei Yasmak Benukai Korin Shikei Nekhay Khan Megan Behind the Gabis Israel Bag Allah is man Kabi Amen. Yesh mei v'abam v'vakli l'amalo mei ol mayor yid v'vakli shabak v'zbor aviz maviz nasei v'yisador v'yisalav v'yisalosh peri v'chot v'yicho le'eg lo amin kol v'gasav shvasot yish v'gasav v'nechamaso tamir mi al-mavi amen al Yisrael v'avabanon v'al tamideyon v'al kolman tamideyon v'al kolman diaskon b'raiset v'yasor ha'nein v'chol asav v'asar יהי לנו לכון שלום רב אחינו וחיסדו ואחמינו וחיינו ויחינו מזונו וויחי ובקנו אדם משמעיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רב משמעיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום עמו ומרחמי ועשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
B'Yeshus, Mereinu Harav Shmuel, First Shlita, Dainu Agudas Yisrael, Rabbanon, Roshei Yeshiva, V'chol HaChaverim HaChashuvim. Everybody knows that Yerushalayim is called Ir HaKodesh. In Eretz Yisrael, they refer to Bnei Brak as Ir HaTorah. I think for over this last 24 hours, we can proudly call Chicago Ir HaTorah V'Ha'achva. So many people from all different segments of our city came together just L'man Hashem V'Toirasai, for our Chaverim, for our sisters, our brothers, for all of those who need Yeshuas in Shidduchim. It's a tremendous zechus and a tremendous kavod to be able to stand here and address this seaboard. We learned last week when Klal Yisrael went to war with Amalek, v'yidei Moshe kevedim, Moshe Rabbeinu's hands became heavy. And Rashi tells us, b'shvil shenitzhatzel b'mitzvah, umina achar tachtav nisyakru yadav. Rashi tells us that the pasuk says previously that Moshe Rabbeinu told Yeshua, "B'char lanu anoshim, go choose the people to fight with Amalek." And Rashi says, based on the Chazal, that there was some kind of an indictment on Moshe Rabbeinu, that he was nisatzel the mitzvah. He was lazy, if we could use such a word in the mitzvah. The Farshim asks, this is a very difficult Chazal to understand, because Chazal also tell us that Yeshua played a very integral role in this milchama, not just because he was choosing the soldiers, but because we needed the zechus of Yeshua. Yeshua came from Yosef HaTzadik, who said, "Es Elokim ani yorei," and therefore we needed the zechus of Yeshua to fight Amalek, who's lo yorei Elokim. So why is Moshe Rabbeinu accused of being misatzel b'mitzvah? He needed Yeshua. Yeshua had to take a part in this mitzvah because his zechusim was so integral. How are we to understand this Rashi? And I thought perhaps that Rashi does not mean it was a punishment, that Chalila Moshe Rabbeinu became tired and his hands became heavy as a punishment, but perhaps he means something different. A cousin of mine told me when he was learning in the Telz Yeshiva in Cleveland many years ago, a great Maggid came to Yeshiva and he was supposed to address the Bacharim. And as Hashgacha had it, he lost his voice on his trip to Cleveland and he couldn't even get a word out of his mouth. So a group of Bacharim crowded around him before he was going to speak. And they asked him, "What's the Rav going to do?" And he said two words, "Zechus HaRabbim." In the merit of the Rabbim, maybe I'll get to say something. As my cousin told me, this Maggid gave a fiery shmooze. And as soon as the shmooze was over, not another word. Couldn't say another word. Zechus HaRabbim. The merit of the Rabbim gives koyach. It gives strength. It gives physical strength for those that are oisik b'tzarchei tziru b'emunah, and it certainly gives spiritual strength. And perhaps this is what Rashi means, that this shvil shenis atzel b'mitzvah. Rashi doesn't mean chas v'shalom it was an indictment on Moshe Rabbeinu, but there was another part of Zikui Harabim that Moshe Rabbeinu was outsourcing to Yeshua. The Chalonu Anoshim now became Yeshua's zechus, and it wasn't Moshe's zechus. And the less a person has in zechus harabim, the weaker a person becomes. Physically, spiritually, it's the mitzias that the power of the rabbim git koyach. The power of the rabbim gives zechusim, and it gives us strength. This Siyum is a culmination of zechus harabim like no other. The zechus of a whole city coming together to learn Torah. Es git koyach. It gives us chizuk. It gives us encouragement. It gives us physical strength. And it gives us ruchmiyisdik strength. But more than anything else, it gives us the schus and the koyach of the Torah HaKadoshah. Chazal famously tell us that this war with Amalek, Klal Yisrael came to refeed them, and Chazal tell us, Rafu Yedeya min HaTorah. They lacked something. They weakened up their grasp on Limud HaTorah, the way many understand this Chazal. And the question is very obvious. What Limud HaTorah? They didn't have any mitzvahs yet. They had a couple. And an obligation of Talmud Torah they certainly didn't have. So why are we so upset of Rafu Yedeya min HaTorah? What are they doing wrong? Were they mevatel a mitzvah? And how much Torah could they have learned already? And I believe the answer to this question is because Torah is a mitzius. Doesn't make a difference. You're mitzvah, not mitzvah. You have to do it. You don't have to do it. Torah generates zechusim, and when people have an opportunity to learn Torah, they have to realize what Torah can do for them and the zechusim that it generates. And because Rafu Yedeya min HaTorah, then Klal Yisrael was subjected to the war with Amalek. If that's the way it is l'ra, if that's the way it is l'peronius, to get punished and to be taken to task, al achas kama v'kama, how much more so when we have Torah, even little breklach of Torah, little pieces of Torah, one blot of Shas, and who's mitzvah? A lot of people in this room just finished Shas themselves. And we're taking little breklach of Shas. We're not mitzvah. No one asked us. No one made us. And yet everybody on their own generated these zechuyos in order to be mezakeh all of us and all of Achenu Kol Beis Israel here in Chicago, Ha'ir v'ha'Torah v'ha'achva. Nobody in this room, Rabbi Say, personifies what we're talking about more than the Dayan Shlita, Areinu Harav first. His koiches to serve this tzibur are beyond belief. And just when you think he's done enough, he does something else, and he does something more, including this project. It is a great kavod to introduce the Dayan Areinu Harav Shmuel first. Mazel tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. We're all together. We're zeicher to finish Shas in one day. Most important, over 500 people participated in this great Siyum, the Chvoid Shemayim. B'nai Torah, B'nai Koilo, all types of Balbatim, all different segments of our community participate in the Limud of Shas. What an actus that we see today. What a wonderful way through Torah bring this all together. And all the help to find Shidduchim for our community and for the rest of Klal Yisrael. Torah is the life of Klal Yisrael, like Rabbi Plati just mentioned, throughout all our generations. The Gemara in Shabbos says, this week's Pasha, V'yisratzu b'tzachta sahara. Melamed, the Gemara says in Shabbos, Shekaf HaKadosh Baruch Hu aleim es sahara k'gigas, v'amar lahem, imatem mekabel satorah mutav, melav, Shom Tehei Kuraschem. If the Yidon Kabbalah Sefer Torah, it's great. But if not, Shom Tehei Kuraschem. So Taisus says a kasha. So what the bunch had to be koyfik akti gigas? Then it said the Yidon said very Nasim and Nishma. What's there on? What's there to be forced for? The Ray said Nasim and Nishma. So Taisus says that maybe we're afraid they might change their mind. They saw Eshak Daila by Maimon HaSinai. They were all scared. Maybe they changed their mind. They don't want to accept the Torah. Therefore, you have to go for Hakagiyas. That's what Taisa says. Is the Briskarav a very stark Akasha? If so, would the Banishim have to bring an Eshak Daila? And through that, they had to force Klal Yisrael. He could have given the Torah Kedusha, Memela. And he wouldn't have to force them. And everyone will kabel b'ratzon. So what do you need the Eshak Daila for? He says very short teretz, but Hafla Ofel, he says, Kabal Sataya, without an Eshak Daila, that's not shaykh. To Makabel Torah, you need a burning fire out of Shemayim. The Kadosh Baruch Hu was Mashish in us to teach Torah and to learn Torah through a Eish by Eretz with Slavas and Shukah Gedayla. Without an Eish, it's not shy to learn Torah. And this Koyach that was Har Sinai was a Yerusha to generation. That's what we have to give Torah out from one generation to the next generation. All those who helped finish Siyum HaShas says by Moshe Rabbeinu, last week's Pasha, Yikach Moshe's Atzvos Yosef,
So the Gemara in Saita says, Boy Rei Kama, Chaviris Mitzvah, Al Moshe Rabbeinu, Shekoi So Kulam Nesasko, Bebizas Hayom, Ve'em Nesasko B'mitzvah Shenema, Chacham Levi Kach Mitzvahs. Moshe Rabbeinu was Chacham Lev. Moshe Rabbeinu was Chacham Lev. So Srom HaKadoshim is. What do you mean? The rest of Klal Yisrael was Isaac and Tzivah Hashem in Bizas Hayom. So why is only Moshe Rabbeinu Yikach Mitzvahs? The rest of Klal Yisrael also was working in the Tzivah Hashem. So the Teretz of Srom HaKadoshim say, Eichanami, the Isaac and Mitzvahs, but there's a chilek between what Moshe Rabbeinu was doing with the rest of Klal Yisrael. The rest of Klal Yisrael, of course, was doing the Tzivah Hashem. And was Matan Tzchor B'tzida. They got Bizas Hayom, Bizas Mitzrayim, Matan Tzchor B'tzida. They got the Olam Hazeh in this world also, besides doing Tzivah Hashem. But Moshe Rabbeinu was Isaac his whole time, was Isaac. And that's with Yosef. That's Chesed Shalemis. And Mitzvah is a lot bigger of Moshe Rabbeinu than the rest of Klal Yisrael. That's Shachacham Chayv Yigach Mitzvahs. You can say all of you who took a part in learning Shas. You're doing it with someone else. You have there's no Zaytik in Yanim. You're doing it to help the people to find Shidduchim. This is Chacham Levi Tzra Mitzvahs. You cannot forget our Noshim Sikonyas that let the husband be kaveh time to learn every day. We only see nachas from the families. There is no bigger schus than the schus HaTorah. And tonight the Siyum HaShas, for all the girls who need Shidduchim, may Baruch Hashem help with this Siyum HaShas. May help many families find their Zivik B'Korov. May all be Zeicha, Sharomas Kerem HaTorah, and the Kom Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'Hem Yameinu.
Many years ago, when I was a bacher learning in the Panavish Yeshiva in Bnei Brak, my chavrusa got engaged. And none other than Reb Leizer Shach, the Gadol Hador, was chosen to be the Mesader Kedushin. And my chavrusa gave me the make-believe kibbud of calling him up. So I was practicing all day long. How do you introduce the Gadol Hador? Mechubed, Metzidek, Kedushin, Mayreinu, Harav, HaKoyin. I'll have a story to tell my Yenaklach one day that I introduced Rav Shach and Rav Chuppah. And I'm standing by the Chuppah. Rav Shach went over to my Chavrusa and he asked him, who's calling out the Kibbudim? And he pointed at me. He said, my American Chavrusa. So Rav Shach came over to me and he tapped me on the shoulder. And he said to me, I know what I'm getting, don't call me up. So I lost my story. Turned into a different story. My Tyra quasi-mechutin, Rabbi Leaf, did not make such a request from me. So I just want to say a word or two of introduction. Rav Meir Shapiro, whose name has been mentioned over and over and over again over these past 4 weeks, said a beautiful word, which I think is very appropriate to this occasion and to our guest. And this week we're going to learn of Maimon Har Sinai. And the Pasuk tells us that Moshe Rabbeinu went up and Hashem called him from the mountain and he said, Kaisaymar lebeis Yankiv v'sagei lebnei Yisrael. And Rashi tells us that the word Omar is a Lashon Rachel. It's gentle. Where the word Saged is Dvorim Koshin, severe, harsh. And a few psukim later, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells Moshe Rabbeinu at them Tilim Nechos Kayhanim V'Goy Kodesh, Eila Advar Mesher Tedavel B'nei Yisrael. These are the words you're going to tell the B'nei Yisrael. And Rashi says, like Pachos V'Lei Yisr. You're not going to say a word more or a word less. Or Chaim HaKadosh asks, how's this possible then? There's one speech. It's being given to Klal Yisrael. And yet it's Rachim and Koshin at the same time? How's that possible? Said Rameya Shapiro, Al Derech Drush, that the psukim in between really supply us with the answer. The pasuk says, "Atem ri'isam asher asisi leMitzrayim." You saw what I did in Mitzrayim, and I'm going to carry you al kanfei nesharim. So Dr. Meir Shapiro, this represents the highest madrega that Klal Yisrael could attain, being carried on the wings of nesharim. V'avi eschem eloi. And then the next pasuk says, but it's not always going to be that way. V'yatoh, and now, im shamoy atishmu b'kaili. It's a suffix. Maybe the next generation, maybe they'll listen, maybe they won't. They're not going to be zeicha to the level of being carried on kanfei nesharim. But at least ushmartem as brisi, they'll keep something. And I'll always be able to say about them, the Yislim Segul Mikol Amin. At least you're better than everybody else. And then the pasuk ends off that Amir Hashem one day again will be Mamlechas Kohanim V'Goy Kodesh. Said Rameya Shapiro, two people listening to this speech hear two different things. One person hears, this is pretty good. No matter how far we've sunken, we're always better than everybody else. Atentiu Sigul Mikol Amin. But the Balei Madrego hear a different drasha. They hear, Oy Gewalt. The day is going to come that all the Eibishter can say about us is that we're better than everybody else. And we've lost our holy calling of meriting to ride al kanfei nesharim. So depending upon who you are, it might be a very strong musar shmuz. Dvarim koshin kegidin. But if you're not on such a madrega, like we say in America, I'm cool with that. Lashon Amir, at least I'm better than everybody else. These are the two groups of people that were standing at Maimed Har Sinai. There are two groups, or many more than two groups. And our attitude towards Avodas Hashem, some people are happy saying, look, we're better than everybody else, what's the shlech? And then there are those that say, that's not good enough. We can't just be better than everyone else, but we got to be better than ourselves. And there are some Rabbanim out there that have that same gefil. It's not enough that our Balabatim, our Mispalim, those that come within our Daled Amos and beyond, are better than everybody else. But they're challenged to be better than themselves, which is really what's happening here tonight. We've shown ourselves that we're better than even ourselves. And Rav Moshe Tuvia Leaf has made it his life's mission to elevate Yidden all over the country and all over the world. Not to be happy with just being better than everybody else, but bringing them to the madrega, to the level, to even be better than they ever could imagine they could be. Rabbi Leaf is no stranger to the city of Chicago. He's here so often. If we'd be in Eretz Yisrael, we could give him a package deal on Birchas HaGoimel, because he comes here so much. It's my biggest kavod to introduce our choshev entire guest, Rav Moshe Tuvia Leaf.
Bershus, Paisik Hador, I'm a Kurav of Marav Al Yashiv Zatzal, Makor Mar Moshe Zatzal, the Chesed Elyon, a Rebbe to me for over 30 years, being in Minneapolis and consulting with him probably thousands of times over issues concerning the Kehillah, Halacha, Hashkafa. He called me, couldn't say no to our first Shlita. There's something else I want to mention. Rav Hut Zatzal had come to Beis Medrash Elyon, and he was walking around. He was going from place to place, from room to room. He was looking out the window, in the window. And Bekitzuri in Geleit in Beis Medrash Elyon, the great Talmidei Chacham, they asked him, is the Rosh Hashiva looking for something, looking for someone, looking for a sefer? And Rav Hut looked at him and he said, "Nay, ich schmeck Mendelovich. Ich schmeck Mendelovich." In Beis Medrash Elyon, many years after Reb Shaga Feivel Mendelovich, the Nister Mendelovich was Nifter, he felt his presence. Ich schmeck the Rosh Yeshiva of Ram Chaim. Ich schmeck the Rosh Yeshiva. He's talking not here, but his indelible Roshim, Yotza Ziva, Yotza Hadare, hasn't gone anywhere. You still feel the presence of the Rosh Yeshiva, Zechet Tzaddik V'Kadosh L'Vracha. The closeness with Bereinu Rav Shmuel, developing together the shtot, is something that every community should emulate. I would like to introduce you to yourselves. It's important for one to know who his target audience is. So I want to let you know who you are. We know that the bane of society is that people are constantly multitasking. They can't stay focused. Some Nashim Tzidkaniyas can pick up their children in the carpool, and the youngsters are so excited, euphoric about school, be'enai ro'isi, about a test that they aced, about a friendship that they made, about the masiba that they had. But the mother's multitasking. She's talking on the phone, she's doing so many different things. You got to focus on your child, you got to focus on your family, you got to focus on yourself. I remember when I first moved to New York nearly 11 years ago, I came out of the shul and I saw Isha Chashuva with like a stroller. I guess it was like a sports car stroller. You can go like 30 miles per hour, you can jog with it. And she's pushing the stroller, and she's holding the stroller with one hand and the phone on the other. And this little 2-year-old child is saying, "Mommy, Mommy, 2 hands, 2 hands." Ich habe nicht verstanden. But then I understood that the mother is not focusing on this 2-year-old. But if it's 2 hands, she won't be talking on the phone and she'll focus on the child. So I was zufrieden. The mama had geklogen, the Musa was it afkriegen. Got into my car, I drove around the block, and then I saw a super stroller, 30 miles an hour down the street. And Taka, the mother, was holding the stroller with 2 hands, but the phone was cradled between her shoulder and her neck. So she didn't get the message. A malach cannot multitask. An angel has one mission, accomplishes that mandate, and remains there l'netzach netzachim, for eternity. So each malach had his own mission. Levaser Asara, to let Sarah Imenu know she would be an Ambi Yisrael. L'chapa, says Abraham, to heal Avram Avinu. And Mapechas Stem V'Ameira. Why is Malach Gavriel visiting Avram Avinu? We should have gone straight to Sodom and Gomorrah and destroyed them. What's to tell? by Avraham Avinu. There's a mezuman without him. When the Rebbeinu Shel Olam created the world, he consulted with the Malachim. Nasa Odom B'Tzalmeinu Kidmuseinu, a very good tactic. If you're running a ma'aseh, a business, you consult with the people that are working with you. And he said, let's create man. And the Malachim, the first count, responded, Mo enoish ki siskereno v'nodom ki sifkedeno, the foilty, the frailty of the human condition. They cheat, they steal, they kill. It's not kedai to create them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu incinerated the first count. Second count was consulted. Same response, Mo enoish ki siskereno. And they too were burnt. The third cat group remained silent. Chazal say what happened to them eventually. But every single day, the Malachei Chavolo, the angels of destruction, the persecuting angels, they go up to Shemayim and they report to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's no tachlis for mankind. They're jealous of each other. They're immoral, they're decadent, debauchery, murder, thievery, terrorism. Destroy the world. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu had allowed Gavriel to go straight to Stom V'Amoira, he would have been convinced the whole world is this way. He would have clamored to destroy the whole world. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, take down a ketovet, take down an address. A yid was heist Avram Avinu avoint in Chala. See this yid. See how he has changed the face of the earth. Put people tachas kanfei Hashrina, introduced monotheism, and extended chesed to mankind. Avram Avinu. Now tell me about the rest of the world. And I guarantee you right now, the Malachei Chavola are saying terrorism, thievery, all kinds of chicanery, people are killing each other, nations are killing each other. There's no tachlis to the world. The Bereshim says to Malachim, take an address that's in Chicago. You'll meet 500 Yidden who are learning Shas for one reason. Because their sisters and brothers are in pain. Because they can't bear to see neighbors and friends and people that they don't know attending a chasna when it feels like you're attending chas v'sholom, a funeral. When they have to dance with the kala and they're 23 and 24 and 28 and 33 and 35. They have to hulyazuk with the chassan. Asher an elta bacha, he's 22, 28, 40. And he dances with all his heart, and she dances with everything, with all the shtiklach that they have. But they're crying inside, so people, they daven, and they daven, and they daven. And then there are over 500 heilige Yidden in Chicago, Illinois, that said, Genug. It's enough. But the Rebbe is done. The Matasyo Solomon says, when you read a shidduch, it's like you're putting the strobe light on top of the Hatzalah vehicle. It's pikuach nefesh. 500 Yidden said it's pikuach nefesh. The Beina Shalom, what could we offer you? The Purple Mountain Majesties, the White House, was cannot give him. So you obviously cannot give him. We cannot give him Shas. We can give you Shas, learned in a day, over 500 Yidden, some 2 blots, some 5, some 1. All for one purpose. We need Torahs. We need the continuity of Klal Yisrael. We need Einaklach and Ur Einaklach. And we know wonderful Bachrim and young ladies who would be extraordinary spouses and extraordinary parents. Bereshim, give them a chance. That's what this is. That's the yisoid of this Torah. When the Chazon Ish was nifter, the Briskerov said, Avelt, yesterday, mit the Chazon Ish, when I ain't on the Chazon Ish. Yesterday the world had the Chazon Ish, it's a different world. Well, yesterday was a world without Shas for Shidduchim. And today we have a different world. So roll up your sleeves and start making those phone calls, because you're going to think it's incredible Zache b'siyata d'shmaya. The Gurn of Shmuel told me that in Chicago this past year, there were 150 Shidduchim from the Torah community. B'siyata d'shmaya will be 250 and 300. And not from brachas and skulas. A Sephardi Rav once told his Olam, Kol echad mechapes segulot, אני רק יודע בדוק מרוסה, יש רק סגולה אחת, אין סגולה כתורה. Could you imagine a community? You deserve going to weddings. You deserve going to Avart and to Etnoim and calling and shedding tears of joy. Taste. Ein segula katorah. So that's where we start. We start with the koyach ha'toira of Shas. Shemi Shmuel says, Mesechta is miloshin mosar sha'achotzer. Mesechta is a curtain that descends. You know what Mesechta Ksubas is? It's a curtain of protection that envelops a person. Mesechta Avodah Zarah, Mesechta Chulin, Baba Kamek, Baba Metzi, and Makis. You know what Shas is? Shas is this incredible curtain that will circle and ensconce Chicago and trap all the tefillas, all the tzedakah, all the chesed that you're legendary for. One of the first speaking engagements I ever had out of town was for the Vada Rayonis. And the Rosh Hashivas were there, Reb Chaim Zatzal, Reb Chaim Devla Mafur Shleimer. The whole shtot was there. What says Vada the Yonis to be mechazik the dying first? This goes back 30 years ago. And look what's occurred in 30 years. It's an under Chicago. It's a totally different shtot. I've come here hundreds of times to speak, to share simchas. Nebuch for Chaim Schmoltz's Levaya. I've been here many, many times. But to see such a Chicago, to see as a Ponevezh, as a Satmar, as a Merkaz Arav, all combined into one. This is a din in Chicago. This is unique to Chicago. My good friend Zislo from Sidney Glenn asked me as we were dancing, did Rob say anything like this? So mistakenly I said, yeah. I had been in London for Shas-4-Shidduchim for a time. I had been in New Jersey, but I was wrong. I've never been to a shtot that celebrates Shas to celebrate Shidduchim. It's a kumtach, individuals, and of course the greatest simchas to see the heilige Yiddische Kinder, Tinoika shall Beis Rabban, the Reina, Tinoika shall Beis Rabban, who celebrate the simcha and Shas, you know. At the Aguda, I came out of my office one day, heading to give a shir, and I saw 7 boys. I said, what are you doing? They're learning Daf Yomi. 6th graders decided they're doing the Daf Yomi. They started from the beginning. They have some art school Gemaras, other Gemaras. Shkamagid Shir. 6th graders are finishing brachas soon. 6th graders want to learn Shas. What kind of Klal Yisrael we have? This is what we have in Chicago. The Rebbeinu Shalom has to have such tremendous nachas. Of course, I want to acknowledge the dying son, Rav Yossi, who put this together and organized it in such a wonderful way. You know, when it comes to mechutin, there's no such thing as a quasi-mechutin. Especially when it's an Adam Choshev, like the Rav. He's my brother's mechutin, he's my mechutin. And it touched upon something that triggered something. Talked about Rafi Yedem Shal Yisrael B'Torah V'Mitzvos. You know what a Siyum Hashas is? Mori Rabbi Ramolcha Gift Zatzal said, Amalek, before you know it, in a month, B'chias Amalek, Pasha Zacha, Purim, the Graga. Amalek is a contraction of Omel Kuf, to toil diligently 100 times. And that's all he said. So I thought maybe this is what Rosh Shiva meant. Vayilochim Yisrael b'Refidim. Refidim is not just a geographic location. Rof Yedeim Shal Yisrael b'Torah v'Mitzvos. Klal Yisrael was weakened. Ashekocha b'derech. Vayizani b'chol kol nachashol machareim v'ata'oyev v'yogeya. We're weakened in Torah, so Amalek struck. They always strike when we're weakened in Torah. But it doesn't say in what Nakuda they were weakened. Chazal say, there's no comparison between someone who learns 100 and 101. Some want to say that extra time is as if he learned it another 100 times. Why there? Why not 30 and 31? Why not 69 and 70? Why not 99 and a round number 100? Why 100 and 101? How do we understand Amalek, like the Nazis, Yimach Shemon v'Zichra, in the waiting years of the war? They had 1 million wounded troops on the Russian front, and they shunted them to the side and used those trains to try to gas and annihilate Hungarian Jewry. Are you crazy? Go win the war. Amalek is Lamalam and Agvul, Lamalam and Ashir. Amalek runs out of bullets, he'll cut off his arm, he'll use it as a club. Amalek, there's no Geneva Convention, there's no conventional way of going to war. Why does Amalek fight that way? Where does it get its impetus? It's not reclaiming territory, it's the Midbar, it's not a grudge, revenge. I think the Yesod of Gifta really said was Omel Kuf. Meya, I would suggest, is the greatest sign of accomplishment. I learned something 100 times. Upgelernt, on to something else. Time for Yerushalmi. Meya ve'echad is the greatest seminal sign of no limitation, beyond limitation. You're starting again, you learned it 100 times. And it starts with Mei Masai. It starts with the first Mishnah. One person has self-imparted limitations to his life. And the other's L'malam and Agvul, L'malam and Ashir. That's a totally different learning. It's not just the difference in 100 and 101. It's 101 is 101, and it starts from the beginning. There are people and there are people. There are communities, there are communities. Amalek went beyond conventional warfare because they took that from Klal Yisrael. They were showing Klal Yisrael, you're Amel Kuf. You're satisfied. You sit on your laurels. You're content. You got to start fighting like we fight. You got to start learning like we learn. L'malam and Agvul, L'malam and Ashir. And that's how they went to war. And that's Enidem Mishanim Me'el Me'ev Echad. And that's the Rifyan. And there is, honestly, a certain complacency that people have, that communities have. Look how much we've accomplished. Like my beloved Mechutin, Choshverov said, look how much we've accomplished. But when you finish Shas, and you say, you know what, we got to do it another time. But we got to do it in one day. And we got to do it with 500 plus. And we got to do it for Shidduchim. That's L'malam and Agvul. That's L'malam and Ashir. There was Chicago before the Siyum Hashas of Shidduchim. And there's Chicago today after the Siyum Hashas. It's a totally different Chicago. It's taking the achrayas, it's feeling the pain and yearning for the joy and the celebration. That's what this is all about. The Koyach of Torah. When I was in Minneapolis, so we had a day school that needed improvement. So we flew in, the Menayel and some Balabatim and myself, to Marina Rav Pam Zatzal, Marina Rav Henach Leibwood Zatzal, and Marina Rav Aaron Shech, the Shlita Yibol Mechaim. And then we went to my Rebbe, Marina Rav Shmuel Birnbaum Zatzal, to get our marching orders from all of them. And they told us we have to change things and split classes and take communication in the afternoon and put it in the morning. And they told us we're going to lose half the school. There were 300 students in Torah Academy, we're going to lose half the students. And Rav Shmuel did exactly as Rav Shmuel said. Shmuel Birnbaum Rebbe did as Maria Rav Shmuel first said. Pulled out the Gemara in Shabbos, Vayisyatzu betachtas ahom melamed shekof aleim marke gigis, im tekablem mutov im lav shom teik v'raschem. Zok Rashi, it was an amasla. It was an excuse for Klal Yisrael. If you lived as a Yid in Klal Yisrael before Kabbalah Satorah Kiblu, Kiblu Purim, Kimu v'Kiblu Yehudim, Kimu Asher Kiblu Kvar, then you had an excuse. You spoke Lashon Hara, Bezdin Shalmala said, I was forced to receive the Torah. You didn't learn enough, I was forced. Mamish, until the Kufa Purim, you had an excuse. I say, Zeb Rashi, the Rabbi L'Raisa, Kofalem Argigas. But Reb Shmuel, Na'asav and Ishma. So as Reb Shmuel said, Taisvin says, Eishak Doyle, the pyrotechnics would terrify everybody. So Reb Shmuel asked the same question, similar to this Britzkarov, a little slightly different. So every nuance is something. He said, to get Torah on Eish. So give Torah without Eish. Said Reb Shmuel, Torah on Eish is not Torah. Meaning the message of Torah has to be Eish. Kefatish Yepoisit Sela. It melts steel, forged steel. It smashes stones to smithereens. That's the Koyach HaTorah. That's what Chatzkel Levenstein. Chatzkel Levenstein said, why is the Nehuah, the Gemara in Chulin, Pinchas Ben Yair split the river? There's no Oz Yoshel? Because that was after Kabbalah Satorah. Before Kabbalah Satorah, Oz Yoshel Moshe, it's a big deal. But after Kabbalah Satorah, we have the Koyach to split the Yam. Nu Vosh State, Koshel Zavgon Kikriyas Yam Suf, those are the Pshat. The same way the Rebbe Yisham can split the Yam, he can make a Shidduch. And what's the Koyach? Torah. If the Kabbalah Satorah, it's no big deal, says Rav Chatzkel Levenstein Zatzal, to split the Yam. So Mamela, it's no big deal to make a Shidduch. That's your Koyach now. If you've tried it and it hasn't worked, roll up your sleeves. Of course, Noshem Tzidkani is smear stick and make those phone calls. And you'll see, Erev and Flois, Nisan and Flois. I want to end with one story. Half have left already. Everybody told me they have to give a shir. I also had to give a shir tonight. I can't do 2 shiurim tonight to become Rav Shmuel. The Vishnitz Rebbe. Rabbi Yisrael me Vishnitz. They all say in Vishnitz. How many Vishnitz are there? 2 Vishnitz. Rabbi Yisrael and Mendel, each one is Vishnitz. A mystical connection with him from years ago. A fella comes in, knocks on the door, and asks for a bracha for his daughter because she's getting married. The Rebbe gives the Varm a bracha. Goes on to say, I need a real stark bracha. You see, his wife was Nifteres. She's a Yesoima. So he vinches him on a tremendous bracha, and then he tells him, you know, right after the chasana, come to me. I want to talk to you. He says, Rebbe, it's 5 o'clock in the morning after the mitzvah tanz. Come to me. 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock at night. So knock on the door. There's the fellow with his shteimel, straight from the chasana. And the Rebbetzin has kibbutz for him. And they sit, and they eat, and they drink. God bless the Rebbetzin, because without her we wouldn't know the story. All Rebbetzins have this potential. And the Rebbe asks him, who is Masada Kedusha? He says to himself, I can't believe it. I asked the Rebbe for Shtarka Brach. I didn't even invite him to the wedding. This person is Masada Kedusha. Who read the Ksuba? He read the Ksuba. Brach Achrita. Who would aid him? Did a lot of Mishpacha come from out of town? Did everybody stay for all 3 dances? How was the band? How was the music? How was everything? He gives him a half an hour bechina on the chasana. Tells him all the answers. He finishes up with him. and they wish him Mazel Tov. And the Rebbetzin asked the Rebbe, what was that all about? Said the Rebbe, what does a husband do right after he marries off his daughter when he comes home? He reviews and he gushes with his wife every detail of the chasna. He relives it, every nuance, every part of the chasna. He doesn't have a wife. He doesn't have somebody to gush to. Let him gush to me. The first thing after the wedding, let him come to me and tell me all the exciting details. Chaza Ibn the chasna. No philosophy book will tell you this. No philosopher. Das is reine Teile. Rabbi Isai and the Rebbe Tzanoisai that are listening beyond Mechitza, you are like the Vishnitzer Rebbe. You decided that these girls and boys, these Bachurim, need someone to gush to. They need someone to celebrate. They need someone to tell of their successes. And so you decided to set the stage, both in this world and in the next. And you come to Shemayim, over 500 Chosheve, Chicago, Yidden, B'nai Aliyah, with Shas. There's no way the Rebbe Hashem's going to turn you down. Mazel tov on all the simchis. Yirotzen Shemali Hashem Kol Mishalei Slipchem L'Taiva. Every bacha should become a chassan. Every girl should become a kala. They should build dairas, yisharim, and verachim. And very quickly we should celebrate the greatest simcha, Aviyas Hagel Mervi Ameinu.
Take the side. Goodbye,